What's up, y'all? It's LakerFan here, as looks about title of today's video. Here to talk all things finishing in NBA 2K24. So, most notably, I'm here to talk about a lot of the new badges that have to do with finishing, not to mention just tweets from Wang or just anything that we have as far as gameplay news when it comes to finishing and slashing. And obviously, as you guys know, if you've watched my channel, I am big on the slasher stuff, and I am very excited to be talking about a lot of this news right here. So, let's talk. As you can see at the top of the screen right here, I'm going to unhighlight it because I know some people don't like it. I just wanted you guys to see what you have to lock in on right now. So, as you can see, we have Float Game, which is going to be for floaters, Scooper, which is going to be for scoop layups, Bunny, that's for hop steps, layups, and dunks, as you can see. And I'm very curious to know how this is going to work, whether it's just the rate of converting on the dunk, or if it's actually the gather, like, separation that you get, or, like, how well you can get into the gather on the dunk. But as far as the dunking stuff goes, it says it's getting boosts, so I don't know if that means, like I said, if it's going to give you more contact dunks when doing things like this, or if it just means that it's going to help you gather through it better. I'm here for the gathers. I hope that it does increase, like, the effectiveness of the gather itself. But anyway, moving along, we have Spin Cycle for the spins, Two-Step for the cradle and Euro layup and dunk attempts, which, once again, I'm looking forward to seeing those Euro dunk attempts, etc., etc. Precision Dunker. This one right here is the big deal. This is the absolute huge thing for our play style if you are someone who plays like me. So this right here is going to be for those who utilize the skill dunk mechanic, aka the dunk meter. You will receive an improved chance of finishing your dunk attempt with Precision Dunker. So obviously that has to do with the contact dunks, the regular dunks in general, and man, do I have to say stuff like that too, where we're gonna have news that I'm showing in today's video of the fact that wide open dunk meters are now a bigger, like, meter than they were in previous years. I'll even have a video showing that I referenced that was something I was gonna be asking for in this year's game, and it's something I asked about last year's game with 2K23. It was like, I just found it so crazy that a wide open dunk meter had to be so hard, yet for a wide open layup meter it was so easy. Or obviously wide open shooting was significantly easier than contested shooting, so I feel it should be the same way with dunking. And either way, with this, Precision Dunker should probably help both wide open dunk meters and, you know, contested dunk meters going for contact dunks, etc. So whether you want to consider post hooking like part of finishing, just know Hook Specialist is back. It's obviously so obvious what it's going to be doing. It's just to increase your chance of making post hooks. Simple as that. We also have things like Spot Finder, but I'm here mainly to talk about things that have to do with finishing in today's video. So as you can see, Whistle is going to be one about pretty much making it easier to get to the line. I'm not sure I like this being a thing, but obviously it's a pretty big deal to have a badge that's something like this, where you're going to have, for the first time probably ever, actual control over your draw foul rating. Now, in case you guys don't know, I made a video about this in 2K23, where driving layup plus your driving dunk was your draw foul rating. So there was still some control over it, but not like to a ridiculous amount where it's so obvious to every player that you're going to be able to actually bait fouls more. Oh man, I'm not sure I like this because I think it bails out people who don't use the meter. And I mean, I'm biased in that sense, obviously, but when I see, like, you know, people going for X contact dunks, I don't like when it happens to reward you with fouls a whole lot more than dunk metering does, because dunk meter puts you into the dunk a whole lot more often, but you had to be precise, obviously, with the timing, and it's going to really put that in your hands and put that ball in your court, whereas holding X or up on the right stick pretty much was just you asking for the game to not only give you a good dunk animation, not only to dunk over the defender, but then also if you don't get into it, you just get kicked out of it and fouled more likely than a dunk meter does. So I'm not a big fan of people that are able to initiate more fouls. Now, I will say, obviously, it's a realistic thing. There are people in the NBA that are great at doing stuff like this. James Harden, Jimmy Butler, just anybody that's, like, you know, crafty with the finishing that also is just a little bit of a flop artist as well, to be fair. But anyway, on that note of getting to the free throw line, you also have free points right here. So this is literally just clutch shooter minus the actual shooting boost, and it's only for free throws. I highly doubt anybody runs this badge, to be real with you, unless it's significant in terms of the boost that you get with it. But yeah, very unlikely. I mean, clutch shooter is already a pretty rare badge, for that matter, to be ran on anything more than bronze or silver for most people. And now that it would not be, you know, relating to the actual shooting aspect of this, and it's just for free throws, very unlikely. I'll be real with you. But anyway, moving along, we have Bulldozer. So this right here is really interesting. It's like Bully and Clamp Breaker together. They even say it in this badge description right here. Think of it as Bully 2.0 with elements of the old Clamp Breaker. Bulldozer improves the player's ability to push through physical body ups and finish with physicality around the rim. So this one, and I will say too, as far as the MyPlayer builder goes, we will make a separate separate video on the whole MyPlayer builder talk and stuff like that too. But with bulldozer, it does seem that this is going to be tied to your strength rating in a way. Now, obviously, it'll be tied toward finishing ratings as well, but I've seen in the builder that it is tied to strength in some ways between some badges. So there are more than just things like brick wall tied to strength in this year's game, and we'll see. I definitely think there is a possibility that I might be on team strength for the first time ever when it comes to making your build and actually thinking that matters, because it is tied to a lot of defensive things too, man. It's actually tied to the resistance of bulldozer. I forget what the badge is called. It's actually on defense right here. I could just let you guys know. A movable enforcer. That's what it's called. A direct counter to bulldozer. And again, this is going to be tied to your defense rating. Things like actually fast feet are actually tied to your acceleration now too. Very, very interesting. But again, today's video is mostly about finishing. So let's talk really quick about some of the playmaking stuff that actually is going to utilize the finishing aspect. So we have a couple right here between big driver, blow-bys, physical handles, speed booster, and triple strike. So things like relay passer, touch passer, I do think they're really cool. Touch passer is going to be really nice for pick and rollers that are maybe inside bigs, and that's going to be fire. So big driver, it says face up bigs driving to the basket from within the mid-range area will receive an initial launch boost with big driver. So I'm not sure if this is big man restricted, where only bigs can get this and guards can't, or if it's more of just the mid-range speed boost, because as you're going to see with speed booster, it says a perimeter only quick first step badge. Speed booster will allow for quicker launches when coming from a standstill dribble situation, but I'm curious if this is only behind the three-point line, and when they say in reference to a perimeter only quick first step badge, whereas big driver might be inside the three-point line. But anyway, blow by, quicker ball handlers receive boosts and body up interactions with defenders when blow by is equipped. So this badge seems to be more of a speed oriented blow by win, or body up win, so to say, whereas physical handles seems to be more of a power blow by win. So as you can see with physical handles, during physical body up interactions, player with physical handles will have a higher chance of winning the outcome following a dribble move. Now I'll be real with you guys. I see myself 100% when it comes to the style that I have with slashing as I don't like body contact. I don't intentionally go for body contact. I don't go for blow-bys. I don't go for anything like that. I try and dribble my way into open spaces, so I want speed combined with dunking power rather than, things that are going to force me past someone, because I do like to be able to get to that point of contact of that rim a whole lot more clean than for body ups and bumps and stuff like that to happen. I don't think it's an efficient play style, in my opinion. I don't think it's reliable. At least that's my opinion. So for me, I'm much more attracted to things like speed booster and big driver and even triple strike for that matter. I'm not sure. We'll have to see how triple threat even feels. I'm a little bit turned off to triple threat from last year's game. It was so bad in comparison to previous years. And I gotta say, if this brings back the feel of 2K20 triple threat, I will absolutely be trying this badge, at least on bronze or something like that. So that is our look at all of the playmaking badges that actually have something to do with finishing, and then also all the finishing badges as well. But again, Precision Dunker, I am looking forward to really seeing what the power of this badge is right here. And I have to assume if there is a badge tier system, I'm not sure how it works yet. We'll talk about the builder when I have more awareness for how it works. But if there is a badge tier system, I have to assume this is going to be a highly rated one that is going to take a lot of badge points to use. But I'm willing to put that in because boy, does that sound fire to use for someone like me. But anyway, that is our look at all the new finishing badges. And in case real quick you wanted to see what the builder looks like, this is the screenshot that they share with us. It's a purposely trash made build, to be honest with you. It looks terrible, but either way, as you can see, with these ratings of 95 Prim D and 90 Steel, you're able to unlock said badges right here. Between fast feet seems to be more of an acceleration based badge, and as you can see, even with 95 Prim D, you were only able to get it on bronze. So some badges are going to be tied to your physicals. I love that. I think that's gonna be fire. Potentially fast feet is maybe even speed. Same with, obviously the same way goes for finishing. Some of these are gonna be tied to your strength. Some maybe hopefully are even tied to vertical. I think that'd be fire if certain things are more vertical dependent. Same with dunk animations being more vertical dependent. But again, things like acceleration actually play factor into things like clamps now. So physicals do see a whole lot more importance. And not to mention, acceleration used to be only for ball handlers, and it didn't even matter for defensive players as far as gameplay relation goes. Shout out to 2K Toots for even that knowledge that that we know because of him, obviously. But anyway, on that note, once again, I just wanted to let you guys know a lot of these badges are going to be tied to physicals now, so stay on the lookout for that. We will talk more about the MyPlayer builder in a different video when we get more info on that. But yeah, I guess like badge progression, we don't need to know too much about this yet either. Long story short, just know that it can go up, it can go down. It's going to be pretty interesting. We'll see how that works as well. But once again, not a lot of info on the builder stuff just yet. So anyway, we're going to go back to Twitter, showcase some Mike Wang tweets real quick, talking about finishing, get some info from the gameplay directors, same with like people like Wolf as well. So let's take this from the top real quick, or in this case, the bottom of my bookmark slasher news. So for those who aren't aware just yet, because maybe you're not active on Twitter or you weren't around for like, early August when stuff like this was getting dropped, it was one of the first things Mike Wang had possibly even tweeted out, and we got 3 million impressions. As you can see, still hard to work at 2K24, but we'll talk soon. One small tidbit for now, RIP quick drops. That was one of the big bangers he dropped, and then the other one was limitless takeoff being gone as well. So, interesting news for sure. I'm not gonna lie though, with a lot of the news of slasher things oriented as well, and the fact that like finesse gathers are gonna be a big deal, as well as the fact that there's a precision dunk meter, I don't think we're bugging too bad about stuff like that either. So, just want to let you guys know, if you were new to the news, that takeoff and quick drops are now gone. According to Mike, at least. We'll see. Maybe that means they got nerfed. Maybe it means they're actually removed entirely. But moving along, for both the layup and dunk meters, if you have a pretty open lane, the green window is much bigger in 2K24, but it shrinks fast the heavier traffic. And again, on Hall of Fame and competitive online modes, you have to green dunks to make them. So it is green or miss on dunks. According to, most knowledge that we have right now, I have to assume it's going to be more of a snap green sort of feel, just like jump shots were last year's game, where obviously if you ever use a shot meter, you could see that you didn't get it 100% full on the meter sometimes, but it would still go in. I assume that's going to be the same way with how it feels with dunks, is the fact that, you might not get it to fill up the meter entirely, but it might still snap green depending on your dunk rating, depending on how open you are, and we'll see. I do think dunk timing has to be a little bit more forgiving than jump shots though, because dunk timing can vary based on a lot of different things. Animations pop off much differently than jump shots do, obviously. With shots, you could be wide open and it'll be the same timing every time as long as you're not tired, whereas with dunks, if you're going for a contact dunk, which I do understand, it's a contested dunk at the end of the day, right? So it should be a little bit hard to make, generally speaking. But obviously, you have a lot of variance when it comes to that timing window of what it's going to look like if you have a lot of different packages equipped. Now, who knows? Maybe we'll see how overpowered the dunk meter is. If it starts to get tough to time, I might end up being someone that actually just uses one specific contact dunk package if it's easy to trigger with the contact dunk meter, obviously. We'll see, though. It's going to have a lot of gameplay testing in my hands, 100%, so you can definitely count on me for news like that as well. But anyway, as Mike Wang tweets right here, since no one asked, you can also meter dunk standing dunks in 2K24. It's really hard to pull off at the moment. Work in progress. I mean, it was possible in 23. I'm sure he knows that as well, but, he's pretty much saying potentially maybe just to, keep that in mind, I guess. So we'll see. Anyway. Shout out to Mike for this triple threat animation right here too. You can taunt defenders pretty much by hitting down on the D-pad, as you can see when you're in the triple threat move. So I think it's gonna be fun. It's not really important to be putting in this video, but it is what it is. Anyway, just to keep this in mind, yes, you can still contact dunk standing without the meter. As you can see right here, same with the driving dunks. It's more of a dice roll though, as you can see. The frequency goes down significantly on Hall of Fame and in the rec/park. So in, my career, anything below Superstar and below that, you're going to be able to do a little bit more of the X button dunking. But again, it does seem that it's going to be pretty, invested into the dunk meter this year. I mean, they have a whole badge equipped for it too. So we'll see. I really am looking forward to seeing how hard or easy this dunk meter is going to be. Same with if it even looks any different or new. Keep in mind, going from 22 to 23 was a huge difference in terms of the activation of dunk meters. We didn't... Bro, I was so lost at last year's community day trying to dunk meter. I was so bad at it. Couldn't get it to pop off more than maybe 3 times all day. And even at that point, it was because I really didn't have anything in my bag for dribbling to understand how to get open either. Not to mention it was MJ with garbage spacing in that 1980s basketball garbage. So anyway, my whole point is it's hard to judge gameplay early on. So just keep that in mind when people tell you slashers suck, when they talk about the gameplay at the community day or anything like that. I don't know that because I wasn't there. I'm just saying to be mindful of people's impression when they don't really have the expertise for stuff like that. Unfortunately, I wasn't invited. I'm not sulking in that though, and I'm not dissing anybody that was by any means. Everybody that was there deserved to be 100%. So that's not me hating or anything like that. It's just me saying I wish I was there to test stuff like that, obviously, so I had more information for you guys. But anyway, moving along, we have alley-oops. As you can see, alleys are finished the exact same way as 23 pretty much. It's going to be that X button dunk where it's not going to be like filling up the meter. You just tap it to stop it, simple as that. As you can see, you can turn off layup timing as well, but he does advise to play with it on. I'm going to be real with you. Coming from last year's game, it was so power-oriented when it comes to dunking. It was all about finish, finish, finish. What gets a contact dunk? What gets, obviously the meter dunk was extremely important. For most people, it was really just about holding up on their stick and getting quick drops. I understand that for sure. I definitely do, because rotating defense was terrible as well off the corner. Same with if you're sitting really deep in the paint. It was also really bad. So my long story short here of what I'm talking about is, for me, it was all about power finishing last year. Dunk meter this, dunk meter that. What gets Euro dunks, what gets hop dunks, spin dunks, etc. It was all about dunk, never about layups. I probably took nearly the least layups of anybody in the community. I'm just going to say that personally. I rarely laid the ball up. It was so rare. It was all about dunking for me. So I'll be very interested to see if, there is any layup kind of gameplay factor I should add to my game in this year. And same with if the layup rating will be super important. We'll see. I'm not sure how it's going to tie into those badges. If I just need a high dunk rating to get some of those gather finishes, I might try it going into the beginning of the year. I'm just letting you guys know I might be rocking a low layup rating, potentially, depending on the builder. So that is kind of my outlook on that, but we'll see. That's still subject to change for sure. Anyway, moving along, as you can see, as far as like what's the difference between up-down contacts and down-up contacts, he says no difference, just a preference thing. Really, it's to my knowledge more about like the two-hand versus one-hand finishes. For me, going up-down was definitely the move. It just felt the most comfortable to me. Not to mention, I think it was more of the one-hand finishes as well, which I think just look better, play better, etc., etc. So I was more into that for sure. And again, that one-arm tomahawk was really good with the straight arms, and I'm definitely intrigued to see if it's going to be back in this year's game as well, and what the dunk requirement is. That one is one that needs to get toned up too, though. That's 80 dunk requirement, and boy, do they need to actually up that by quite a bit. That needs to go to like 90, bro. Same with any of the good takeoff range tomahawks. And no, I'm not worried about limitless takeoff, nerfing those. Those are some dunks that get great animations no matter what year you're talking about. Tomahawks are just built like that in every year of game. So anyway, as far as the adrenaline stuff goes, like shooting gets affected by your adrenaline bars going down. We haven't really seen any like notable factual news on what the percentage actually is going to be when it comes to offense. He hasn't answered that question very much. For defense, it's, I believe, a confirmed something around 7.5, 15%, and then 50% for each bar you lose on defense. So We'll definitely have to see what it looks like as far as finishing stuff goes, but just know your finishing is affected by your loss of adrenaline bars. I don't have a hard time dribbling with adrenaline, and not to mention it seems this game is a little bit easier to avoid losing your adrenaline, so I assume it should be plenty fine for finishers unless you're constantly begging for blow-bys and, like clamp breaker animations and stuff like that, whatever the badge was called again. I forget. I think it was like, we'll call it that Derrick Henry stiff arm badge. I don't remember what it's called right now, but anyway, moving along, we have the acrobatic layups. So as a lot of you guys know, with last year's game, there was things where you could just spam X when you have a bad take pretty much, and the acrobat layup will hit a lot of a changeup that is going to give you just something that's a much lower contest. Definitely cheese, and as you can see right here, he's saying functionally they work the same, so that is a little bit tough to hear in general, but he does say they were slightly nerfed, especially for lower rated players. And yeah, I agree. I mean, like last year's game was dominated in Pro-Am, especially by people that had like Hall of Fame Giant Slayer and silver or gold fearless finisher on literally just 80 driving layup, and then maybe their close shot was high enough to have gold fearless, or I take that back. It was generally Hoff Giant Slayer, silver fearless, with 77 lay getting that silver fearless and 80 getting the Giant Slayer. So long story short, you were just able to spam that with maybe even silver acrobat too, and then it was just stupid, to be real with you. And same goes for Park too. Like the acrobat changeups were super crazy. Ironically, what they were terrible for, and I hope that they actually fix this, is reverse layups have been terrible in 2K for years and years and years now, and I think that's not really reasonable. I think reverse layups are a pretty big deal in basketball in general too. So I'm a big fan if that was to be fixed, but who knows if they even get to that anymore. It's been bad for quite some time, bro. Anyway, as you can see, as far as the like shot meters and stuff like that goes, he says like with the 20% drop to like shot meters and stuff like that, it seems it's pretty stupid to add 10 more meter types. No. And then he says it's still useful for layups and meter dunks. So I guess that's Mike being condescending with the dunk meter, right? But or with the meter in general, of the fact that they've definitely added more visuals for it. Yet he's definitely advising people to not run their meter for jump shots. But he does make a point. Either way, it's still going to be there for dunk meters and layup meters. So shout out to us, I guess, for being the ones that will utilize that as well. As you can see, so Badge ends up getting a tweet responded to where he asks, what do you think is the biggest skill gap in gameplay on NBA 2K24? And Mike responds, meter dunks and pass interceptions. So I said, heard it direct from the source. Shrug emoji. Just for anybody that's going to be talking their stuff on dunk meter this, dunk meter that next year. But I figured we'd at least keep the receipts for that one right there. So moving along, Mike responds as far as shout out to the bigs. You're going to be, loving this one right here. So he's pretty much saying any easy standing lays are a little bit easier to make. I agree in the sense of whatever is deemed easy. I hope that shot contests are still noted though when it comes to like contests below the rim, where even if it's a smaller defender, I hope the game still acknowledges that they're there. You know what I mean? Like when it says bunnies are much easier to convert in 24, I hope that doesn't just mean like, yeah, I'm 4 inches taller than the guy, so boom, it's like you're not even there and I'll just make it every time type stuff. I don't like when masher is like a super crazy aspect in the game. I think it takes away from a lot of skill talk in terms of like pro-am things, and also maybe I'm just biased. I don't like big bigs being the meta in pro-am, but we'll see. I think that really has a lot more to do with the way they move rather than the finishing ability. I think like if they're extremely slow, they're just not as effective. Also, if they just don't jump very well. To be fair though, bigs have always been super dominant in rebounding in any 2K, regardless of the vertical and stuff like that. But anyway, moving along, we have about like 2 or 3 more. So I hope you guys are enjoying the video. If you are, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, tell them notice, all good stuff. And like always, let's try about 1,000 likes. Moving along, this guy asked, are there any new dunk animations this year? Can't wait for the game. Mike responds, always. So new dunks, stay on the lookout for that. I'm guessing it's more of like NBA player dunks, and I'm interested to see what Pro Play is going to do as far as dunk animations. I don't think many people have talked about that. I know like mainly with Pro Play you're looking into the dribbling animations, not to mention like defensive motion styles and just how players move on defense and stuff like that. But finishing should be very interesting to see the change of like the era, so to say. That's going to be really interesting for sure. But anyway, for this one right here, it's more big talk where like adrenaline bars don't get eaten up on post backdowns, box out battles, or post moves, just face up drive attempts that get bumped. So again, adrenaline does not seem to be very hard to maintain in this year's game, and not to mention it once again doesn't really play any aspect into the post backdowns or anything to do with like big man type stuff. So lastly, I just wanted to show in gameplay, pretty much showing Tatum has silver 2-step, and here's what it looks like. So it's not a big one to show, but just wanted to show this as we are finalizing this video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, tell them noties, all good stuff. And like I said just a couple minutes ago, let's try this one to 1,000 likes. And if you want to see more of the MyPlayer builder stuff, feel free to let me know. We could either do that for tomorrow's video, or we could do the playmaking breakdown where I'm talking about passing, dribbling, etc., etc. So feel free to let me know. Either of those 2 videos are going to be the next 2 up. And then we will be, by that point, looking at about August 28th, 29th. That's when we're going to start getting gameplay from people that were at Community Day. I'm going to get into gameplay, like stuff like that, and see if I can get anybody to share gameplay with me. And I will do my own little breakdowns on it, but I'm going to be studying that stuff like crazy, because obviously I don't have hands-on with it. So I got to watch it and see how the game interacts and stuff like that. And shout out to a couple of the people that are going to hook me up. I don't want to like give you guys the indication that they're giving me anything early though. It is only going to be when the embargo drops on the 29th and then the 30th for news that we are allowed to see. So I'll just be getting like pretty much the green light to react to their gameplay pretty much. But they're going to send me the actual footage when that time comes. But anyway, that's all for the video. I hope you all enjoyed. Other than that, take it easy, man. Peace.